Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, a croeso. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Mhara Starling. I'm a Welsh witch from the tippy top of the north of Wales all the way in Ynys Môn, the Isle of Anglesey. And I'm also the author of several books on Welsh traditions of witchcraft, magic, mythology, and folklore. You might have seen one or two of my books, or you might have seen me pop up on social media rolling down hills talking about how pigs are actually fairies, or how Welsh women used to curse people with their tits. Here on my channel, I explore the magic and lore of Wales, and today we're talking about the four branches of the Mabinogi, as well as the other myths of Wales that get classed under the title of Mabinogion. 1 year ago, I published this book out into the world. This is Pagan Portals, a Mabinogi, my first book with moon books. I've always been a fan of moon books. Their Pagan Portals titles are rather accessible, affordable, and rather lovely little introductory books into all manners of subjects to do with paganism and witchcraft and magic and such. So when they reached out to me and asked if I'd be willing to write a book on the four branches of the Mabinogi, I jump at the opportunity. Of course I was going to do it. Who else would do it? Now, the purpose of this book is to act essentially as a study guide, a guide on the side of reading the stories of the four branches of the Mabinogi. My hope was that people would purchase this book to coincide with a good translation of the Mabinogi today, and that this would be filled with my own personal insights and wisdoms, specifically geared towards a pagan or a polytheistic or a magical audience. So people who want to delve into these stories as magical texts, as texts to inspire and inform their magical and spiritual practices in the modern day. But today I wanted to talk a little bit more about resources that you can turn to if you want to study the Mabinogi, if you want to learn more about the Mabinogi. Now, of course, if you're not academically minded, if you're not somebody who wants to go to university to study Celtic studies and such, but you still want to delve deeper into these stories, you still feel a pull towards these stories, sometimes it can feel a little perplexing to know exactly where to go, beyond just reading the stories themselves and picking out wisdoms that you get yourself, which I do recommend you do. Read the stories and figure out what means something to you, what evokes and stirs meaning within you. But, sometimes I do get people coming up to me and asking, well, where else can I go? Where can I find more information? And that's exactly what this video is. This is essentially Mara Starling's guide to exploring the Mabinogi in more depth. So today we're going to look at things such as which translations you can turn to, which translations are considered the best, but also which books on top of just general translations of the stories you can buy that delve deeper into these ideas and these stories. Beyond books and book suggestions and reading lists, I'm also going to provide you with a little bit of information regarding YouTube videos or websites or courses that you might be able to take as well, including a lot of free resources. So a lot of these resources on this list are not free, but some of them are, and I'll try and make it clear when one is free versus not free. The first big question that most people ask me whenever they are tiptoeing tentatively towards the Mabinogi is which modern translation is the best translation? Now, of course, if you are familiar with the Mabinogi, then you will probably know that one of the most well-known, one of the most infamous translations is one of the original translations, and that's the translation by Charlotte Church. No, no, it's not by Charlotte Church. Oh my goodness, I'm mixing up my Charlottes. Lady Charlotte Guest. Ooh, I think we can thank Charlotte Church for a lot of things, but I don't think she was one of the first people to pioneer translating the Mabinogi. Lady Charlotte Guest's translation of the Mabinogi was the first popular version that was available. It wasn't the first in its entirety to be translated into English. There was also John Pew's, but it was Charlotte Church that but it was Charlotte Guest's translation that really gripped the world. And Charlotte Guest's translation was done so long ago that it is now within the public domain. So if you want to, you can go and find that translation available online for free. There are numerous different published versions of Charlotte Guest's translation, with illustrations, without illustrations, with all manners of different formats and styles. Some of them are absolutely gorgeous. And of course, I think it's valid to go back and look at that translation because it was the first one. So it's worthwhile to go and have a look look at that translation, to read it. But I think it's important to note that by now, by today, it is a little outdated. It still gives you a taste of the story, but it's not considered the most scholarly translation, nor the one that people trust the most. There are certain things about Charlotte Guest's translation that need pointing out. For example, there were certain elements of certain stories that were omitted to suit the sensibilities of her time. So if we, for example, read the first branch of the Mabinogi, there are certain elements that might allude to some sexual conduct that Charlotte Guest thought, oh no, we can't have that. This is Victorian society. We can't talk about sex. So because of that, most scholars will tend to push people towards looking at more modern translations today. The best translation, in my opinion, the version that you can get your hands on easily that is also very scholarly sound, is this one. This is the Sioned Davies version, the Sioned Davies translation of the Mabinogi, published by Oxford University Press. Now, as you can see, there's tabs and stuff in this one because I like to make lots of notes. But one thing I love about this translation is that it includes a rather detailed introduction at the beginning that tells you what these stories are, where they come from, what the words that we're going to talk about, such as Mabinogi, mean, and then in the back of it there's an index of place names as well as an index of personal names and all manners of notes that connect with the translation itself. So Sioned Davies's translation is probably one of the best modern translations, if not the best modern translations, still to this day. It was published originally in 2007, and now you can still pick up a copy fairly easily. And if you are like me and you like pretty things, then you can also get a lovely hardbound copy. Isn't this gorgeous with the dragon there? So this is the same exact translation as this one, but this is just beautifully bound in hardback and it'll look shiny and beautiful on your desk. So whichever one you prefer, they're the same ones, really. I like both of them because this one I can have prettily on my desk or I can take it to events and stuff, but this one I can flip around and play with and, you know, go through it wildly and be as horrid to it as possible because it's just a paperback. So yes, Sioned Davies's translation is one of the best, if not the best today. So if you're looking for a good translation, I would recommend that one. She's not the only modern translation available, though. You could also turn to somebody such as Patrick K. Ford, and this is again another one that's fairly easy to get your hands on. Patrick K. Ford is a rather well-respected academic within the field of Celtic studies, and this version, which was published by the University of California Press, so it might be a little easier for those of you in the United States to get a hold of, is still a very good translation. And once again, it includes a preface and introductory material, introductory information at the beginning, as well as various notes and guides to pronunciation in the back. So this one is well worth getting a copy of as well. And as you've probably guessed from me talking about Charlotte Guest's version, Sioned Davies's version, Patrick Ford's version, and I'm going to talk about a few others as well, I like to have a good mixture of translations. Rather than just looking to one translation or two translations, I like to basically read as many as I can just to see the nuances and the differences in the ways in which people translate things. So yeah, I have pretty much a lot of translations of them, but if you're going to get any, I would very much recommend either the Sioned Davies version or the Patrick K. Ford one. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about is a bit of a niche thing. So this is if you're specifically a Welsh speaker, a Welsh reader, and you're looking for a good modern translation in Welsh. So strangely, this is actually quite an uncommon and difficult thing to come across a good translation into the modern Welsh language. Because, of course, the original manuscripts are written in Middle Welsh, so they're not written in a Welsh that any Welsh speaker could pick up and read with ease. If we heard it being spoken aloud, we'd probably pick up on the odd word here or there and understand the gist of what the stories are. But we still need it translated into modern Welsh, and it always baffles me that there are so few options available. But of the options available, I think, or my personal opinion, is that one of the best translations you can get in Welsh today is the Dafydd and Rhiannon Ifans version. So this version is available from, oh my goodness, this is an old copy. This one was published by Gwasg Gomer, but I think it's recently been republished. I need to check that up actually, but I do think it's recently been republished, so you can get a copy. I have one in paperback and one in hardback that's back on my shelves over here. So this is one of the best ones, and it includes a rather amazing introduction by Brinley F. Roberts, and again, more notes and things. So there's lots of information in here, and it's really, really good. And as you can see, I use this one as well because I speak Welsh, so I like to have a good Welsh translation. But it is interesting that good scholarly translations like this are rather rare in Welsh to come across. Otherwise, the types that we see a lot in the Welsh language tend to be picture books, illustrated books, just children's books in general, which is fine and a lot of fun. I do have a lot of those as well. They're all down here on these shelves that you can see behind me. But, it would be nice if we had a few more of these. But I suppose Dafydd and Rhiannon Ifans have done such a good job that we don't need that many more. This one is perfectly adequate. So those would be my main translations that I would turn to. But what about books that delve more into the themes, the ideas behind the Mabinogi? Rather than just giving you a word-for-word translation of the stories, what books can you turn to that dig a little deeper? Well, if you want to dig deep, I think one of the best books for that is this heaping hunk of a book. Look how big that is. You could kill someone with this. This is Will Parker's The Four Branches of the Mabinogi, published by Bardic Press, as you can see down there. It is one thick, thick, thick book, and it has a lot of information packed into here. I do think this book is a little expensive, but it makes sense considering how big and chunky it is. But it's an investment if you want to buy it. This isn't something you'll just pop in and think, oh yeah, I'm going to buy that on a whim. This is something that you will look at the price and go, am I going to read it, or is it going to sit on my shelf and collect dust? So if you're somebody like me who will read it, absolutely will go back and back to it constantly, then it's definitely worth the price point. I think I paid around £50 for it. I have seen it go for a bit more in some places, but I think £50 is around the benchmark it goes for here. Why? What marks this book as really brilliant is that it includes translations of the four branches, whilst also including a variety of different notes and ideas and essays that explore the themes woven into the stories, the historical background, the context of the stories. There's a lot in here, a lot. And I would be lying if I said I'd read it cover to cover. I haven't. I've been dipping in and out slowly, and I keep going down rabbit holes and wormholes whenever I read into this and I find new things. So definitely Will Parker's The Four Branches of the Mabinogi is a good resource to have if you want to dig deeper and get the juicy details of these stories. Now, the next one, I'm going to preface by saying I'm not sure how easily accessible this one is, nor do I remember how much it was, how expensive it was. This is one I bought a few years back, and I use it all the time, so I wanted to mention it here, but I haven't looked up what the current price is for it, and I know that these types of books usually get a bit expensive because it's an academic text. It's an academic book. So yeah, the academic texts usually, they skyrocket in price. They like to go very, very expensive. And then people like to look down their nose when we are not all perfectly up to date with our scholarship, as if we can all afford to spend £300 on a silly little paperback book every now and then. You know? No offense to academia, but if you want people to know more, make it more accessible. Anyway, we won't go on that rant today. But this is The Mabinogi, a book of essays edited by C.W. Sullivan III. This is one of the Rutledge revivals. You can probably see there's a ton of tabs in there. So I've used this book to death. I move these tabs around depending on what it is that I'm studying at the time. And what this is an anthology of essays. So there's a variety of essays in here that explore different things within the themes of the Mabinogi. So if you're somebody who wants to dig really deep and you're not scared of academic writing, which, that's no judgment. Academic writing can be scary. They use big words. I came across the word scatological the other day, which just means relating to shit. And it's like if I was having a conversation, I would just say relating to shit that it's shitty in nature. But if you're an academic, you have to use scatological. So, sometimes it does carve a little bit of an inaccessible language barrier as well as the inaccessible price points and stuff. So I completely understand if you're not somebody who likes to read these types of books. But I wanted to put it here because of how much I use it and how useful I have found it. So, there's different parts to this book. There's part one, which focuses on origins, which looks at the translations and the dates of the Mabinogi. There's comparative analyses, there's structural interpretations, and there's thematic interpretations. And you get a quite a lot. You get around 16 different essays in here from different academics and writers. So you get a variety of viewpoints and ideas. So very much worth grabbing if you can find it for a good price. Like I said, I have no idea. It might be £2 on ABE books for all I know, or it might be 150 million pounds on eBay. Who knows? Have a look yourself and see, because I forgot to look up before I filmed this video. Woo, I'm so professional, aren't I? Now, this next one is an interesting one because this is a translation, another translation, but I included it in this section rather than the translation section. So this is a translation of the Mabinogi by John K. Bollard, and it focuses on the four branches of the Mabinogi, but this is called Legend and Landscapes of Wales, the Mabinogi. And what marks this book as different is that not only is it a translation of the stories, but it includes a variety of pictures and pieces of information about the actual locations that these stories take place in. So it contextualizes the stories to the locations that we hear about throughout. So rather than them seeming like these far off places, these far flung places in the realms of fantasy, this puts it within the context of the landscape of Wales. And I love this book. It's so beautiful and so lovely. And, I always say to people that these stories, they're rooted in locality and specific places that actually exist. They're not once upon a time in a land far, far away a long, long time ago. They are stories that evoke something that echoes even to this day. And having grown up in an area where one of the stories does take place, so I grew up in Aberfraw, which is where Branwen marries Matholwch in the second branch of the Mabinogi. So I grew up immersed in a Mabinogi landscape, and it's lovely to be able to see the other landscapes that show up a lot. And there's pictures of places like Glenkirch and the various different areas that take place in the first branch of the Mabinogi down in Dyfed and Pembrokeshire nowadays. So it's really great to be able to read the stories while also looking at the locations that are related or might be related to these areas. So this is an interesting book because it contextualizes the stories within location, and I love that. This next one we're going to look at is actually a bit of a mixed bag of a book because, it's not specifically a Mabinogi focused book, but it's still a book that I consider rather worthwhile and rather interesting to read. And this one is The Celtic Myths That Shape the Way We Think by Mark Williams. I don't have its dust cover on. I've got a terrible habit of taking the dust covers off books because I just like the way books look without dust covers. I think dust covers can sometimes be a little ugly. But there's the title, The Celtic Myths That Shape the Way We Think by Mark Williams. And what this is a collection of essays which focuses on mythological characters or themes that have shaped the general broader culture of Britain and maybe even the world. Because, the modern fantasy genre would be nothing if not for the Mabinogi. And there's various other things that Welsh mythology, as well as broader Celtic mythology, has influenced in the modern day world. So specifically in this book, if you want to pause on this contents page here that shows you all the different essays, there are essays that pertain to various different ideas from all over the Celtic nations. So it's not just Welsh stuff in here, it's not just Mabinogi stuff in here, but there are essays on things like Taliesin, the chief of poets, the Celtic Arthur, Merlin from Wild Man to Wizard, the tragic story of Branwen, Blodeuwedd, the woman made from flowers. So all of those things that I just mentioned now, they relate to Welsh mythology in some way. Specifically, the Branwen chapter and the Blodeuwedd chapter focuses on the Mabinogi. So you will get something rather profound from this. At least I do. I get something rather profound from this. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I think Mark Williams, whether you agree with everything he says or not, he has a way of writing that's very accessible, that's very approachable, and that's still very deep and very worthy of reading. Like, it's not dumbed down, it's not made to be too easy. It still has depth and grit, and it's gripping as well. And of course, honorable mention before we move on. I wrote a book. It's very small, it's very thin, very easy to read. The whole idea was that you would buy a copy such as Shauna Davis's Mabinogi and read this alongside it. Now, keep in mind, my book, A Mabinogi Exploring the Magic and Wisdom of Welsh Mythology, only explores the four branches of the Mabinogi. So that's the story of Pwyll, Branwen, Manawydan, and Math. I don't go into any detail of the later stories because I'm using the word Mabinogi appropriately here. So this is only the four branches of the Mabinogi, not the other stories that are usually included in the collections we call the Mabinogion. But it's here, it's there for you, and who knows, maybe perhaps I'm working on a sequel to this one that delves into the other stories as well. But anyway, moving on. Beyond the confines of books and libraries and such, where else can you find information on the Mabinogi? Well, there are numerous different creators here on YouTube that you can turn to. I'm one of them. Come seek my videos out. But there's also people such as Kris Hughes from Go Deeper. There's also CelticSources, aka Gwilym Morus-Baird. I'm a big fan of the Cambrian Chronicles. I love their videos, and they sometimes touch upon mythological themes as well as historical themes relating to Wales. Storycrow is another YouTube channel that often includes hints towards Welsh mythology and retellings of stories from the Mabinogi, so they're worth a follow, definitely. Online, in the broader online world, you could also go on to Mabinogion.info. So it's Mabinogion, not Mabinogi, Mabinogion.info. Mabinogion.info is a website run by Will Parker, and it includes translations of all the four branches of the Mabinogi and the further stories as well that are often classified under the title of Mabinogion, alongside various different articles and essays that explore the stories and the themes in the stories. So it's similar to the book, The Four Branches of the Mabinogi, that I held up earlier with Will Parker, but it's a bit more broad, and there's a few bits of information on there that are not in the book. So definitely go check that out. It's completely free, a completely free resource that you can find just with a tap of your finger. The BBC History website also has a whole section on Wales, which includes writing on the four branches of the Mabinogi and other stories within Welsh tradition. So if you want to find that, then you can go on to the BBC Wales website. I'll put the website link here now so that you know where to go, but there's various different pages you can explore within that categorization. And I think that brings us to the end of this video. I hope this has given you a little bit of an overview of places that you can go to delve deeper into these stories, to dig your heels in, to really get to the very depths of these tales, beyond just reading the translations over and over again, getting an insight into how you can incorporate these stories into your everyday and how you can dig deeper into them. Now, of course, I would be remiss to not mention that I also run courses and study groups and all manners of things over on my Patreon. Videos like this one are only made possible because of my Patreon subscribers. The only reason I've been able to come back to YouTube after a long absence is because I have subscribers over on Patreon who are so supportive of my work, and I'm so thankful that they are there. And you can become one of them as well. So if you head over to patreon.com/Mhara Starling, or just head to the Patreon app and search my name, Mhara Starling, then you will find my page. And over there, you can gain access to exclusive courses, classes, video essays, articles. You also gain access to a community of people, like-minded individuals who all have an interest in Welsh myth and lore in some way or another. Most of them are witches, pagans, polytheists. Some of them are folklore enthusiasts, story enthusiasts. podcasts. Some of them are broadly spiritual, some of them are not spiritual at all. Whatever you might have a reason for coming along, you are more than welcome. I have 3 different tiers on my Patreon, so you can choose which price point suits you, or you can join as a free member. Not that there's any perks to joining as a free member, but at least you still then get the updates whenever something new comes out. So do come find me on Patreon. In line with the theme of this video, I do have a study group called the Mabinogi Study Group, and if you join, you get access to the recordings of all my former classes, courses, and study group sessions. So you get to go onto all of those in your own time and watch them, read through them, get to know the people who come to them and such. And then, of course, you gain access to attending the live sessions when they show up as well. So do check that out. Thank you, diolch o galon, for being here today, for watching, and I will see you all very soon. Goodbye. Diolch. Thank you for being here this evening. If you enjoyed, do consider checking out my Patreon, where I offer exclusive courses and classes. And of course, check out my books, my podcast, and my other offerings. See you all soon.